I knocked out so many people with either hand. Punches to the body, punches to the head, combination punches. And the reason I could do that is because I can punch really hard. And how can I punch hard? Well, by doing the things that I'm going to tell you that you can do on this video. And as you can see by the bar across the bottom, this is the different sections of the video. So whether you want to punch harder with your right hand, with your hook to the body, you can go to them sections easily and then work on that. You can have this video as your power punching Bible. I recommend you email yourself this video so you've always got it for the next time you're in the gym and you're smashing a heavy bag. You can always look this up and work on the little tips and tricks that I give you with each punches. Let's get into it with the most important punch in boxing, the jab. And I've knocked people out with my jab using these tips that I'm going to give you right now. Do you want to jab as hard as this?
Look at the jab.
Or how about as hard as this one?
He's being knocked out that jab by...
Or even this jab. Well, on this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips so you can punch harder with the most important punch in boxing, which is your jab. The first tip is sinking your foot with your hand. When you do this and you step and you punch at the same time, this is going to get more power in the punch. But it's very important that you do it at the same time. Because if I step, then punch, guess what? It's going to be awkward. It'll be like this. Not much power. Or if I punch and then step again, yeah, I'm kind of walking into range and gonna get blasted in the head. So you've got to do it at the same time, the exact same time. When the foot lands, the punch lands. And the momentum of your movement, getting the body weight behind the punch, is what's going to get the power in the punch. And it'll look like this. Ooh. Again, stepping and punching. Watch the foot. Watch the hand. The exact same time. Yeah, and as you can see, the bag swinging. Lots of power getting that body weight behind the punch. Number 2 is having a tight fist before you throw the punch. Now, some people say you've got to have a tight fist just before impact. That's BS, and I've talked a lot about that on a different video. But I want to have a tight fist. Now, if my fist is tight, especially when I'm landing the punch, it's going to be stronger. But when you are doing this, you need to keep your full body relaxed. So my full body's relaxed, my fist's so tight in here now. Then with that step, the relaxation of the arm, that'll help generate the power. Then moving on to number 3, which kind of ties into number 2, is staying relaxed. It's natural for us to want to be all tight and holding our breath on the phone punches to think, you know, if you hold your breath, you're going to get more power in it, but it's not. If you're relaxed and you exhale when you throw that jab, you will get more power in it, because you're going to get more speed into it as well. Now, with speed can come power as well. So that full arm, your full body is relaxed as you're stepping, tight fist and throwing that punch, exhaling as the punch is coming out, that will get the more power in the punch. So I'm here, I'm totally relaxed. I'm going to exhale as I throw the punch. Yes, I'm getting that power in there. And now moving on to number 4 before I show you the speed punch, is punch through it. If you think that you're going to punch through something, you're going to punch hard. I remember in my fights, I would really try and jab through someone's head. I would put all my body weight behind it and really blast through it. But again, you need to stay relaxed with it. Now, one thing to think about when you're doing this, let's just say I'm hitting this bag. I don't want to be hitting the bag there. I'm not getting much power in it. I want to be thinking that I'm going to punch all the way through the bag there, get my hand inside of it. So it'll look like this with the step, with the relaxation, with the exhaling, with the tight fist. I'm here, I'm going to punch through that bag. Yeah, and that's generating that power. Again, yes. But one thing you don't want to do when you are trying to punch through the bag, what I see, common mistake, is pushing it out, where it's like a terrible common mistake. When you're getting trying to power. Pushing compared to punching, 2 completely different things. So there's a few things you can do to get more speed into your jab. The first thing is think about speed. If you're thinking about speed, you're going to punch faster rather than thinking about power. Think about the speed and you will get speed. Now the second thing you can do, which is going to take a little bit of the power out of the punch, is get your hand here where it's halfway out. If my hand is halfway out, closer to the bag, it's got less distance to travel. So if it's got less distance to travel, it's going to get there faster. And it'll look like this. Now we've got knockout power in that jab. Let's go on to the most basic combination in boxing, the 1-2.
All of us in the Celtic tribe can be proud of him.
It's just getting beaten down. know has got the toughest chin in the business, but he's throwing punches with no
The 1-2 is the most basic punch in boxing, but a lot of people don't know how to get power into this combination. That's why I created this video, to show you exactly how to get knockout power every single time you throw a 1-2. I'm going to give you 4 tips that I guarantee you, if you use these the next time you're in the gym, it will increase your punching power by probably 30%. Now, the first tip is stepping as you're punching. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in a second, but I just want to explain it. So I'm going to step with the 1-2. Step, step. And what I'm doing there, as my foot lands, the punch lands. Step, step. And I'm moving forward as well. As I'm moving forward, that is getting this full body weight behind both punches. But it's very important that the punch and the foot land at the exact same time. Bah, bah, like that. Now I'm going to do a demo on the bag without the step, then with the step. I'm going to try and punch my hardest both times. So without the step. Oh, without the step, that's a big 1-2. I don't even need a step. But when I do step, it's going to increase even more because my full body weight's going to get straight behind it. Watch this. Oh, look at that. Now that would knock out anybody, right? Maybe not you, but anybody else. Now put them side by side on the screen right now, and you can just see that the backswing's a little bit more with this step. And that little bit more could be the difference between a knockout and not a knockout. Now, I understand if I'm this close to an opponent, stepping and throwing the 1-2 is not going to work because I'm going to end up like here and smothering the work. So instead, what I'm going to do, I can still step out and step on the spot with my front foot, and then the back foot, I'm going to really rotate and get the body weight behind the punch. So it'll be a little step on the spot, then rotating the back foot around, and it'll look like this. And again, you can see that back swinging. That means I'm punching hard. So that little step on the spot with the lead hand is just getting that body weight behind the punch. And then following up with the 2, generates that power. Now, a couple more things that you notice that I'm doing there. What will increase the power is fully extending your arms. I see it so many times where people will be on the bags and they'll be throwing the 1-2. And that punch will be landing like that. It's not good enough. It's not going to get the power in the punch. Because your arm is not strong here. Your arm here is really strong. And my coach told me this analogy before that really sticks with me. I hope it sticks with you. Is if you've got a pencil and you try and snap it by pushing either end, it's not going to snap. Why? Well, because it's strong, because it's straight. But put a little bend in that pencil, it snaps straight away. And that's what I think about with the arm. If my arm is like this, it's not strong. Like this, it's strong and it'll not be snapped like a pencil. So that's why you need to really fully extend your arms on them straight punches. Now moving on to the next tip is staying relaxed and exhaling. Often people will be so tight trying to get power in the punch. And yeah, I'm getting to power in the punch. But what's going to happen there? It's going to slow my punches down if I'm holding my breath. But what I see so many people doing is holding the breath when they're throwing the 1-2. Yeah, I'm getting power in the punches. But what holding my breath is doing, that right there is slowing down the punches. And as well, it's burning too much energy. I'm going to get tired very fast. But with the relaxation and the exhaling, now I can punch faster, and as well, because I'm breathing, I'm going to reserve energy, which we definitely want to do. I've actually done a full video on how to reserve energy in boxing. Click the link below and watch that one after this. Now, another thing that I'm doing on all of these punches, whether I'm stepping in, whether I'm stepping on the spot, every time I throw that 1-2, I want to turn my hips. And that's another way that's going to get the weight behind the punch, by rotating into the punch. I see it all the time, and I hope you're not doing this, where it's a 1-2. Yeah, you see what I'm doing there? It sounds good, it looks okay, but I'm not getting any power because I'm not turning into it. As soon as I throw the punches with that relaxation, with that speed, but I turn my hips, now you can just see there the power's increased a lot. So now you know how to punch really hard with that 1-2. Now I'm going to show you how to punch faster with that 1-2. Thinking about the sound of the speed is going to help you punch faster. Now what I mean by that is, if I think about a 1-2 like this, I'm going to throw a 1-2 like that. matching the speed. But who wants to throw it that fast? I want the speed of the 1-2 to be this fast. Hear that? Now I'm going to match that speed. Exactly that. And that's the best way to be able to improve your speed, by giving yourself a little cue like that. Now the way you throw your cross will change after watching this. The cross is our power punch hand. Now let's get power in that hand. Do you want to get this sort of power in your cross? Well, how about this? Well, on this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips to be able to get knockout power in your backhand. When you use these 4 tips, your power will increase so much that I think you'll surprise yourself. So the first way to do it is the traditional way, is where you're going to step with your front foot and back foot and then throw the punch. And it'll look like this. And as you can see, I got some serious power in the punch because I'm getting my full body weight behind the punch. Now the key is with this one, you step with your front foot. As you're stepping with your back foot, the punch will land at the same time. So slow motion, it will be front foot, back foot, punch. And then hit land at the same time. If you do it too late and you step with your front foot and punch and then step with your back foot, it'll look pretty silly like this. Yeah, I can't even do that, I'll lose my balance. So the timing on this is key for increased power. And you can see the increase in power there. Now, the other way to step and punch is the opposite. This is a way that no coaches really teach. And that is moving your back foot, then your front foot, then throwing that punch. Now, if you see this here, it's like a little shuffled step. I think some people might call it the pendulum step. But when I do it this way, I'm getting even more body weight behind the punch. It's like what shot putters do when they're throwing that. They'll bring their feet together and they'll go up there. And now watch the power increase with this step compared to the last step. Now when you see these side by side in slow motion, you can probably see the power increases in the punch where I step my back foot first. And I guarantee you, when you try this, you will surprise yourself. Okay, moving on to number 2 is relax. If you're tight, you're not going to get power. Now, it's natural for us to want to tense up and be throwing that like that, you know. But, no, you need to stay relaxed. And one way to stay relaxed is by, shaking your full body out. You might have seen fighters before a fight. They'll be bouncing on the spot, shaking the body out. This is keeping them all relaxed when you're breathing as well. I'm relaxed. So stay relaxed. But when you are throwing that punch, you want to have a tight fist, but keeping your full body relaxed. Right now, under my glove, this fist is so tight. So I'm here, I'm relaxed, tight fist, and then punch. Now, that being said, when you're moving around the ring or moving around in training, you don't want to have tight fists all the time. You want to have loose fists. Here, I'm totally relaxed. Tight fist, then punch. And now that with the exhale, as you throw the punch, you'll see the power here. Whoa, that's knockout power right there. Now moving on to number 3 is fully extend your arm. Now, we're not throwing a hook here, we're not throwing an overhand right, we're throwing a straight cross. And just like you see Canelo do in this video here, he throws that straight cross and he fully extends his arm and boof, he gets some serious power into that punch. A common mistake with heavy bags, you might come too close and you'll be here and you'll be throwing that right hand like that. And now, it's still a decent power, but it's not maximum power. And that's what we want. We want maximum power when we throw that right hand. But when I am fully extending, I'm not going to land right here. I've got to punch through the bag as well. So I want to visualize that my hand's going to go through the bag when I'm fully extending. And then that right there is way more power than that right there. And as well, if you're out of range, you don't want to lean over and fully extend that way. You need to have your feet underneath you. That's why that step that I showed you earlier on, keep your feet underneath you, is great. Now moving on to the big one is turning your hip, getting your body weight behind the punch. Now you want to transfer your weight from this. So here, our weight's 50-50 on both feet. When you throw that cross, you want to transfer 60% of your weight to your front foot. That weight transfer here is what's getting all the power into the punch. Rather than an arm shot, what I see lots of beginners doing. Now that actually might look good, it might sound good to the uneducated eye. Well, that's decent. But nah, mate, I want to turn the hips. When I turn the hips, the weight gets behind this bad boy here and boom! Whoa, knockout power right there with the straight cross. Now staying relaxed, fully extending and turning my hip. I don't even have to step to get that power in the punch, but stepping will only increase it even more. Now I'm going to show you this combination that is unbelievable, and you will definitely surprise yourself with the power you're going to get in your cross after trying this combination. So what this combination is a step with a long lead hook, then followed up by a cross. And why this is so good, if you imagine you're in front of me with your hands up right now, I've stepped and threw that long lead hook. Chances are you're going to try and block it with your right hand, and it's going to come out like this, which is going to leave you open for that straight cross down the middle. So if I'm here and I've done that, I'm not even looking for power with that. I'm just trying to get your arm to come open so there's a clear path straight down the middle for my big cross. So that's the follow-up shot. So it's going to be a hook, then a cross. But when I'm stepping with this, I'm getting so much power into this combination. And you're going to see here right now, and it's going to look like this. Oh, look, the bag's swinging now more than it swung all day. The most awkward punch in boxing is the hook. But if you land this in the right place with the right techniques, you're going to have serious knockout power. Let's talk about it. If you want to get crazy power in your lead hook, like this right here, or even this right here, watch this video, because I'm going to give you 4 tips to be able to increase the power on your lead hook, no matter who you are and what weight you are. Okay, let's talk about the first tip. And with this, I'm going to show you the way Mike Tyson used to do it and the way that I think you should do it, because guess what? You're not Mike Tyson. I'm not Mike Tyson, so I wouldn't do it that way. And Mike Tyson used to really step and kind of jump to get that power in the lead hook, just like this here. And people used to think he used to do that like little jump because his opponents were bigger, which I get, because he has got to go up and travel to land that punch. But as well, he's generating that weight transfer with the steps. And he used to sometimes, he would step, and he'd be stepping and moving. We've all seen Mike Tyson moving like this, a bit faster, a bit better than what I'm doing right now. But when he's stepping, he's transferring the weight. Then once the weight's on that front foot there, that's when he will fire up and fire that weight back to the back foot, and that will really help generate the power. So it was like a step, boom. And you're seeing crazy power. Now, one thing that will work for you, that works for me, is stepping with the front foot and punching at the same time. And it looks like this. Now, as you can see there, that's lots of power, because I'm getting a ton of my weight behind the punch. Now, one thing you want to be aware of when you are stepping and throwing a hook is that you miss. You don't want to miss, because you might look a bit silly. And we don't want to look silly, we want to look good. And when you practiced on the heavy bag, you don't have to practice for power every time. You can practice on landing that front foot and that punch at the same time. So start off softly, just there. 1, 2. Now I'm getting the hang of that. Now what I can do is really whip that power in. Now moving on to tip number 2, which you might have noticed I did there, is I exhale when I throw the punch. Now, why am I exhaling? Well, it's because I'm staying relaxed. Often people try and throw that big power punch and they'll be holding the breath. Nah, mate. You want to relax the full shoulders, relax the body, relax the hips, relax the arms. The only thing that's going to be tight is when you throw the punch is your fist in your lead hand. So I'm here, everything's relaxed. Tight fist there, there, and I'm exhaling. The exhaling as I punch is helping me stay relaxed. Now moving on to number 3 is turning your hip. This is another way to transfer the weight. Now, you're not going to get as much weight as by with a big step and turning into it, but you are going to get some serious power, because if you think, if I'm up close to an opponent here, I can't really step and get that power into the punch. But what I can do is turn the hip. And as I turn the hip, I'm turning the front foot. And in slow motion, when I do it, I'm transferring the weight to my back foot there. So here, 50-50. There, the weight comes to the back foot, and I bring my heel off the ground. Now, there's a lot of people out there might be raging right now. Tony, you don't have to bring your heel off the ground. Manny Pacquiao doesn't bring his heel off the ground. Oscar De La Hoya didn't bring his heel off the ground. I hear it all the time when I say this, and I understand, I get it. I don't have to bring my heel off the ground to get power in the hook. Still getting power there, but when I do bring my heel off the ground, I'm going to get that extra bit rotation, and guess what? With that extra bit rotation, what comes? An extra little bit of power. Now again, you don't have to do it, but I would always practice this. Now moving on to tip number 4 is setting the punch up. Now you can set the punch up with either a cross, because if you think about it, if I threw that cross, now I've got 60% of the weight on my front leg here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that cross back to my face, and throw that hook. Now this weight transfer gets even more power into the punch. So I'm there, 60% on the front foot. Then when I bring my weight back, I'm whipping the hip around, whoom. And that right there is getting more power into the punch by getting in the position to throw the hook. It doesn't have to be a cross, it could be a slip. I've slipped, the weight's on the front foot right here, back heel's off the ground. I'm going to drop that back heel, bring the front heel off the ground and throw the hook at the same time. And that right there will get so much power in the punch. So now I'm going to give you a great combination that you can practice on the heavy bag to have success landing this punch. So this combination is tricking your opponent. What I'm going to do, I'm going to throw a jab right hand to the body. Now think about this. If you're in front of me, I've threw a jab, I've threw a right hand to the body. And as long as you're not stepping back, how are you going to defend it? Generally, you'll defend it with your hands. We're blocking like this. Blocking, I'll throw the body shot, you're blocking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to jab, throw it across the body. You've blocked. Jab, throw it across the body. You've blocked. This time, jab, feint across to the body. As I'm feinting, I'm bringing the weight to my front foot. And then from there, whoop, whipping in that big left hook as your hands come down. And it will look like this. Jab the head right on the body, setting them up. Setting them up. I'm being one step ahead right now. Setting them up again. Now he thinks I'm going to throw that jab the head right on the body. I'm going to feint that right hand the body and throw that hook as his hands come down. So I'm here. Oh, look at that. A great combination for you to practice. Now we've blasted in them power punches to the head. Let's talk about power punches to the body. I love body punching, and this is what I put most people away with. Do you want to know how to get lots of power in your body shots like this? Or how about like this?
Till this fight is over, but don't be surprised.
Or even like me on here. Yes, I was a great body puncher in my time. I stopped lots of my opponents training up to the Olympics with body punches, even as a professional as well. And I'm going to show you 4 different body shots and tell you how to get lots of power into each one of them body shots. So the next time you're on a bag in the ring hitting the mitts, you will definitely see a big improvement in the power of your punches. Now the first body punch I want to show you is the one like you just seen me knock a guy out with, and that was the left hook to the body. This was my favorite body punch. Before you get power in that punch, you need to know how to throw it. So there's a couple of ways how to throw it. One, you need to slip over to your front leg and get the weight on the front foot. And from there, I'm just going to turn my hand in, around, thinking that there was an elbow there that I'm getting around the side. So on the bag, I'm here, I've slipped. Then from there, I'm going to throw it in. Now, before I show you the power hook to the body, I just want to give you a little tip on what you can do to improve your hook to the body. And it is doing this drill. Yeah, like that. Throw multiple hooks to the body. Because as I'm sure you know, how to get better at anything is by doing it over and over again. Getting them reps in. But by throwing multiple hooks to the body on the heavy bag, that's going to get your body and your muscles used to throwing that punch. Now, once you can throw that punch correctly, then we can start working on the power hook to the body like I'm about to show you. Now, one thing I like to do when I'm throwing that body shot is position myself so I can punch through it. So what I mean by my positioning is when my opponent's directly in front of me here, rather than me being there and throwing it like that, I want to kind of position myself so my foot is kind of in between his foot. So I'm a little bit more around the side. This allows me to really punch through the target. So rather than here, like this, now I'm here like this, and there I can punch through the target. So if the target's here, rather than that, I want to step to the side of it. That right there, positioning yourself here, will help you get more power in the punch by punching through it. Now as well, you always want to be rotating your hip and turning into it. You always want to have a tight fist and relaxed shoulder and relaxed arm. That will help you as well. And with relaxing, you need to breathe and exhale as you throw the punch. Now with them few little things there, that will turn your hook from this to this. Woo! You're seeing the difference right there? That will knock anybody out. Now the second body shot I want to show you is the straight cross to the body. Now with this punch, I used to kind of like to use this as a setup shot rather than a power shot, where I would throw a jab to the head, get his hands to come up, the right hand to the body, get his hands to come down, then I would finish off with a big left hook, so it would be a ba ba ba, setting them up with the two to the body. But if you throw this with power, you can do some serious damage with the shot. So generally when I throw this, I wouldn't step. I would just be here. I would rotate my back foot, but I'd keep my feet planted. So it'd be like this. I'm bending my knees, turning my hips, exhaling, fully extend that arm, And the power's good. Still would hurt someone. But now if I want to generate more power with this, I'm going to step with my front foot as I throw my backhand. Now, I want my front foot and my backhand to land at the same time. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my head off the center line. So you think you've got that line in between my feet, like you can see right there. I'm going to step to the side. As I'm stepping to the side, I'm throwing that toe to the body. Now, this step is getting the weight behind the punch. The momentum of the movement gets the power into the punch. So again, I'm going to step. And here it is, full power. Oh, give me that one more time. That's a nice shot. Hit someone with that, they're going to be in trouble. Moving on to the third body shot we're going to work on. It's the bolo punch. Now, this is a very hard punch to throw. It's a great shot for a southpaw to throw against an orthodox fighter, or an orthodox fighter to throw against a southpaw, because you're right on line to hit them in the solar plexus right there. Now, if you hit someone there, this punch doesn't even have to be hard to be effective. So the first way of doing it is this. Yeah, and you can see that I'm turning my hips, and that's what's generating the power into that punch. Again, yes, and you can get fancy with it, and you could be like this, turning it around, Sugar Ray Leonard style. Now, that's one way. Now, the way that I prefer to do it, what coaches don't really teach you, is without turning your hand like this, but keeping your hand side on like that. Now, the reason why I like to do it this way is because now my hand is more like 5 inches rather than there where it's 8 inches wide. And because it's smaller, I can get through the guard. So it will be a... yeah, great punch. And if you step with that one, just like across the body, you will get so much power. Now, the final body shot. This one is a beauty. If you can land this one, you're going to hurt whoever's in front of you. And as well, this punch is a great setup shot. This fourth and final body shot is the rear hook to the body. Now, this is a great punch, but we don't really throw it. And the reason we don't throw it is because it feels awkward. If I'm throwing this punch here, I feel like I'm wide open there for the jab or the left hook. But when you throw correctly and with power, you will have success. Now, I wouldn't recommend throwing that punch if I'm out of range here. Nah. It's too slow, and again, what I said, it leaves you wide open. But when we're up close and we're inside, and everything gets up close and inside, we're here, I'm going to throw it around the side as if there's an elbow right here, and you can even put some tape on your bag to get it around that tape and whip it in. And now with this punch around the side there, once I've threw that with power, their hands is 100% going to come down. Leave them open to punch them upstairs. But how do you get power in that? Now, to get power in this, you need to really rotate your body, stay relaxed, keep your arm bent and punch through the bag. And think about power as well. But a key thing is here, having your knees loose, your feet are planted into the ground, and you're really rotating that back foot, and it'll look like this. Oh, even if I'm hitting someone on the elbow with that punch, that will bring the hands down. And then from there, I can come up to the head, and the combination will look like this. Now for one punch knockout power, to be able to punch the hardest you can punch possibly, use this technique for that. On this video, I'm going to tell you, show you, and teach you the most powerful one punch in the world. Now, you might be thinking, how can I punch the hardest in the world? Well, chances are you can't, but what you can do is punch harder. Now, this punch you can use in a boxing fight. You could use it in a street fight if you're trying to defend yourself. So you're probably thinking the hardest punch is your overhand right, which looks like this. Woo! And as you can see there, that was a hard punch. You could hear it, you could see it, overhand right. But that's not the hardest punch. It's hard, and you can do some damage with that, but that's not the hardest one punch that you can do. You might think a big swing with your lead hand is the hardest punch, and it looks like this. It's a hard punch, but again, it's not the hardest punch in the world. You might think a straight right hand does the damage, which looks like this. Now that was a hard punch. Look at the bag swinging. That's a hard punch. But again, that there is not the hardest punch in the world. But if I change my technique on throwing that punch, then I will get to the hardest punch in the world, or the hardest punch that I can throw. You might have heard punching power starts in the feet. Well, it does, as long as you're doing the right technique with the footwork. And with the footwork, it'll increase the power of that straight right hand probably by twice as much. And here is the technique behind the hardest punch in the world. So in boxing, what you should do, you should step forward with your front foot first, followed by your back foot. But what we're going to do with this, we're going to step with our back foot, followed by our front foot. Now with that movement there, and the punch behind it, is where you get the hardest punch that you can possibly throw. And it'll look like this. And you can see just the distance of the bag is swinging there. And that's how you get the power in the punch. And the reason why it's so hard is because I'm not just turning the hips and getting the body weight behind the punch. I'm also getting the force of my body weight moving forward behind the punch as well. And with that force, plus the weight transfer, plus the fully extending with the arm, exhaling, staying relaxed, and that right there is the hardest punch in the world. Not mine, but somebody, whoever can punch the hardest in the world, if they use that technique, that's how you punch as hard as you can. Now, I don't recommend street fighting, but if someone messes on you and you need to defend yourself, you need to have power in your hands, right? Well, this next section will talk all about that. But don't street fight, be smart, walk away. But if you do, this will help you. On this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips to punch harder and faster in a street fight. Now, if you are ever in a street fight, you need to understand what you're going to be doing and exactly how to throw your hands. This is the best weapon you will have when you're in the street. So you need to know how to use them. And if you can punch hard and punch fast, you're going to come out of that street fight victorious, and hopefully you're not going to be hurt. So you need to understand what I'm about to teach you right here. And I'm not just going to teach you it, I'm going to show you, I'm going to demo it. I'm going to show you exactly how to punch harder and faster as well. Tip number 1 is stay relaxed. Now, I know it's easier for me to say this than you to do it, but you need to stay relaxed. And when I'm saying relaxed, I don't mean like sitting there like drinking a cup of coffee, just waiting for this street fight to happen. You're so relaxed, you're not worried at all. No, I don't mean that. I mean, stay relaxed with your arms and your shoulders, and you're ready to punch. You want to stay loose. Now, if you can get in a boxing stance position, which basically is if you're right-handed with your left foot forward, I've done a full video on the Ultimate Guide to Boxing. You should check that out if you're not familiar with how to punch, and you'll be able to get lots of tips from that. Links below. But basically, you want to be in this boxing stance position with your hands up here, high, ready, staying loose and relaxed here. Because I see it often, and we'll see videos online where people will be throwing punches in a street fight, and they'll be like, really stiff. And when you're stiff, your punches are slower. And if your punches are slower, they're not going to be as hard and they're not going to be as fast. So you need to really stay relaxed and stay loose here to get that punch off. And when you are punching, you do want to exhale as well. That's going to help you with your relaxation. So you're relaxed here. Look, I'm not stiff, I'm relaxed. I want to exhale as I punch. I'm going to give you a great demo of this in a sec. Let's just move on to tip number 2. And this is throw a straight punch rather than a swinging punch. Another thing we'll see all the time is punches coming from over here. Boo, like that. And yeah, the bag's swinging, connected, and it was pretty hard, and with no gloves on and no padding on, it probably will do a little bit of damage. But it's not efficient to get speed and power into the punch. You've heard the phrase, the fastest way to travel from A to B is in a straight line. So if my arm's got to come all the way around here, right? Or all the way back here. Now look at the distance it's got to travel from there to just from here. The distance is probably cut in half. And as you see on the screen right now, if you're traveling less distance, guess what? You're going to get there faster. And as well, the power is better, believe it or not. Exhaling with the punch, turning your hip and fully extending. Woo! Now look at that swing from the bag. Now that there, you can see the power is a lot different, a lot better, and the speed is twice as fast as well because the distance is shorter. Now tip number 3 is think about it. Now think about speed. Now you might be thinking, well, yeah, of course I'm going to think about speed, but often people don't think about speed. People think about power or think about getting tight and think about, I need to really swing this punch, and that's when they're like, ugh. No. Now if you're thinking about speed and you're doing what I said in tip number 1 and number 2, which is staying relaxed and throwing that short, straight punch, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a lot of speed and a lot of power into your punch, and it's going to look like this. So I'm here, I'm going to think about speed. Now look at that, hardest one yet. Because I'm thinking about speed, I'm throwing the punch correctly, I'm fully extending my arm, I'm turning my hip, I'm throwing it straight, I'm staying nice and relaxed in the shoulders, right, like here. Now that right there is how you will punch harder and faster in the streets. I hope you never have to have a street fight, but if you do, now you've got a good understanding of how to throw the punches. Now your punches are great, let's work on your feet. Click here and watch this video next where I'll give you drills to get better footwork. Click here next.